Welcome back to an episode of We again on the Normandy, and it's time for us to do some, well, somewhat main missions. And what else can we do? Some whatever, reading things, whatnot. So for some reason we are getting pointed towards the galaxy map, but yeah, we did get Liara before. And let's see if we can actually talk to her. He said something about her being in the med center. But let's just talk with all the companions, like usual.
Anything you need, Commander?
Alright.
Just trying to get a sense of where the crew's at. Thoughts?
Is this an official evaluation, Commander? Or off the record?
Alenko, when it's just you and me, you can consider it off the record.
That's a generous attitude. Okay. I think there's something wrong with all this. This Saren is looking for records on some kind of galactic extinction, but we can't get backup from the Council? Sorry, Commander. There's writing on the wall here, but someone isn't reading it.
Okay. Don't worry about it, yeah, no. What do you expect me to do? Well, this is not it. I want to know what he means by that.
The Council doesn't want to believe anything's wrong. I'd call it human nature, but...
I hear you. It just seems like a group that's been around as long as the Council should see this coming. Sorry if I got too informal. Protocol wasn't a big focus back in Bot.
Alright.
Tell me about it.
Biotic acclimation and temperance didn't last past the airlock. To the kids they hauled in, it was brain camp. Sorry, hauled in is unkind. We were encouraged to commit to an evaluation of our abilities so an understanding of biotics could be compiled. There are worse results of accidental exposure to element 0 in the womb. Beats the brain tumors some kids grew up with.
Whoa.
Is there some question about how you were exposed?
My mother was downwind of a transport crash. It was before there were human biotics, a little after the discovery of the Martian ruins. It only gets iffy around 63 when kinetics was running out of first-gen subjects. Until then, they'd relied on accidentals. A bunch of guys in suits show up at your door after school, and next thing you know, you're out on Jump Zero.
What is that?
Jump Zero is Gagarin Station, right? What's it like?
Yeah, that's the official name. Biggest and farthest facility we had for decades. Right on the termination shock, the outer edge of the solar system. It's where they did all the Goose Chase FTL research before we caught on to using mass effect fields. It was a sterile research platform when I was there.
There were other kids in the same boat, right? At least you weren't alone out there.
That's true. We did have a little circle that'd get together every night before lights out. We didn't have much to do, though. It was a research platform then, and kinetics kept Jump Zero off the extranet to prevent leaks.
Time to get physical and time to talk then. What? What is going on?
Then you must have had plenty of time to get to know each other.
Yeah, we'd sit around and bull every night after dinner, play cards or network games. There was this girl named Rana, who had a little circle grow up around her. She was from Turkey. Her family was very rich. But she was smart and charming as hell. Beautiful. But not stuck up about it. I think you'd have liked her.
Oh.
Sounds like she was special to you.
She was. Maybe she felt the same. But things never felt together. Training, you know.
Right. Any exposures?
Do you know of any intentional exposures for certain?
No one knows. Doesn't mean they didn't happen. As big as the exposures were, it was hard to track down accidentals. It was different then. No one knew the potential, so there wasn't a lot of regulation. Anything kinetics did was gold. I'm not saying they intentionally detonated drives over our outposts, but in retrospect, they were damn quick on the scene.
Oi. Alright.
Jump Zero is a long way from home. What was it like?
The grand gateway to humanity looks a lot better in the vids. But that's my own baggage, Commander. No bearing on this.
Alright.
Alenko, there's no regulation that says you can't be friends with your commander.
I appreciate that, Commander. I just don't want you to think that I'm a whiner. Besides, I've got my past squared away.
Right. Oh, look at that. We got ourselves another codex entry. What could that one be? Probably about the whole Gagarin thing. Planets and locations. Arcturus station. Gateway to Sol, 5 kilometers Stanford Taurus. Like sometimes you do select the one that you are supposed to read. Expensive bringing construction, cluster, and so on and so forth. Good. Gagarin Station. Gagarin Station is the largest deep space station built by humanity. A Bernal sphere, designed with a 500-meter diameter, habitable era. It was constructed beyond Pluto, nearly 80 astronomical units, or 12 billion kilometers, from Sol. Moving crew and material to this location bankrupted most of the backers. You gotta be kidding me. Gagarin was placed at the inner edge of the heliopause, the point at which the solar wind can no longer push back the interstellar medium. It was built to test a number of faster-than-light drive principles that theoretically could only occur in interstellar space. The station was nicknamed Jump Zero, as it was intended to be a jumping-off point for humanity's expansion into the galaxy. Shortly after the station was completed, the Prothean ruins were discovered on Mars, rendering the entire effort moot. After struggling to make a profit for a decade, Gagarin was sold to the Systems Alliance in 2159 for a fraction of its construction cost. The Alliance refurbished it as a research and training center for the recently discovered biotic phenomenon. In 2169, the Biotic Acclimation and Training Program was shut down and Gagarin became a general research facility. Its remote location and international isolation from the extranet makes it popular for dangerous research, particularly in the field of artificial intelligence. Humanity's first stable AI, the Alliance-sponsored ELIZA, achieved sapience at Gagarin in 2172. Today, Gagarin Station has a permanent population of approximately 9,000 people. A plan has been proposed to move it to the gravitational stable Berry Center, a point between Pluto and the Charon Relay, allowing it to serve as a gateway facility between the Sol and Arcturus systems. The high cost of safely moving its mass has delayed this indefinitely. Oh, and technology, look at that. Biotic training. Biotic implants and amplifiers only provide the potential to create coherent mass effect fields. Whether biotics can actually do so is largely determined by their training. Biotics must develop conscious control over their nervous systems, sending specific electrical impulses to the element zero nodules embedded in their nerves. They are taught to use their implants and amps with biofeedback devices and physical mnemonics. Specific gestures or muscle movements fire the proper sequence of nerves to activate a certain skill. Konetics Industries pioneered biotic training with the Biotic Acclimation and Temperance Training Program. Although BARD did not achieve the desired results, many techniques taught are still used today. Many humans think tanks are trying to develop some form of biotic super soldier. Most are benign efforts to create more flexible troops. Others, less publicly known, are unapologetic attempts to create niche men Superman. Alright. Very interesting stuff indeed. So, anyone back there? Nope. It's lagging like crazy. Okay. Right. By the way, do we have 6 out of 6 of the gel? Right. We don't need to do anything else.
Yes, Commander? Is there something you need?
Alright.
I should go.
Goodbye, Commander.
Nothing. Wasn't Liara supposed to be done? There you go. Another scientist back in their quarters. Alright.
Commander, are you coming to check up on me?
I was worried. Was I? Are you okay?
You look much better. How are you feeling?
Dr. Chakwas assures me I am going to be fine. I was impressed with her knowledge of Asari physiology.
Yeah, she's the best.
You're in good hands. Dr. Chakwas knows what she's doing.
I never properly thanked you for saving me from the Geth, Commander. If you hadn't shown up,
Yeah, you're welcome.
I'm just glad we got there in time.
So am I. I know you took a chance bringing me aboard this ship. I have seen the way your crew looks at me. They do not trust me. But I am not like Benezia. I will do whatever I can to help you stop Saren. I promise.
Ah, that's nice.
Don't worry, Liara. I trust you. I know you won't let me down.
It means a lot to hear you say that, Commander. Thank you.
Right.
Tell me about yourself, Liara.
Me? I am afraid I am not very interesting, Commander. I spend most of my time on remote digs, unearthing mundane items buried in long-forgotten Prothean ruins.
And then we got the interesting bit, the Prothean part. You must get lonely. Is that like, yeah, come on. Going straight for the relationship. Sounds boring. No, it's actually very interesting. Do you like it?
You must enjoy something about it.
I love my work. Seeking out history's lost secrets has a special appeal for me. You were actually touched by working Prothean technology. That is why I find you so fascinating, Commander.
Oh, am I now?
Sounds like you want to dissect me in a lab somewhere.
What? No, I did not mean to insinuate. I never meant to offend you, Shepard. I only meant that you would be an interesting specimen for an in-depth study. No, that's even worse.
It wasn't serious. Oh, alright, anyway.
Calm down, Liara. I was only joking.
Joking? Oh, by the goddess, how could I be so dense? You must think I am a complete and utter fool. Now you know why I prefer to spend my time in the field with data disks and computers. I always seem to say something embarrassing around other people. Please, just pretend this conversation never happened.
No, I got good memory.
Do you know why Benezia joined up with Saren?
I don't understand it. She was always outspoken about the need for the Asari to become more involved in shaping galactic events. Maybe she thought allying herself with Saren would somehow be for the greater good in the long run. At least I hope so.
Depends on whose good it is. You're so in trouble.
This hurts you, doesn't it?
None of this makes any sense to me. I have not spoken to Benezia in many years, but I know her, and this was not like her. Something changed.
I'd like to know more about the Asari.
We were the first species to discover the Citadel. We were instrumental in forming the Council, and we always strive to be the voice of peaceful cooperation in galactic disputes. My people believe we are all part of a single galactic community. Each species contributes something to the greater whole. Although we seek to understand other species, it seems few of them seek to understand us. The galaxy is filled with rumors and misinformation about my people.
Like what?
Like what?
Most of the inaccuracies are centered around our mating rituals. My species is monogendered. Male and female have no real meaning for us. We still require a partner to reproduce. This second parent, however, may be of any species and any gender.
Interesting. How is that possible?
I don't understand. Your species can mate with anyone?
Mating is not quite the proper term, not as you understand it. Physical contact may or may not be involved, but it is not an essential element of the union. The true connection is mental. Our physiology allows us to meld with other beings. We can touch the very depths of their minds. We explore the genetic memory of their species. We share the most basic elements of their individual and racial identities. We then pass these traits onto our daughters. It is how we learn to grow as a species and how we develop a greater understanding of other races.
Interesting. So what would actually happen if you mix like an Asari and a Krogan together? Do you get an agrobiotic? That would be quite interesting. What about the other parent?
What happens to your partner after the union?
Every relationship is different. Some unions are a single encounter with both parents parting ways afterwards. Others can be more long-term. Sometimes an Asari and her partner will stay together for many decades.
Interesting. Who was your father?
Do you know who Matriarch Benezia chose as her partner?
She rarely spoke of her partner. Though I know my father, if you want to use that term, was another Asari.
You could do that.
I thought you always needed another species to serve as one of the parents.
Think about it, Shepard. If we were not able to mate with our own species, we would have died out long before we ever mastered spaceflight and left our homeworld. Union with our own kind is no longer common, not for the purposes of reproduction. Most Asari believe it weakens our species. Asari daughters inherit racial traits from the father species. If both parents are Asari, then nothing has been gained, or so conventional wisdom would hold. I am what is sometimes called a pureblood, though no Asari would ever be cruel enough to say the word to my face. It is a great insult among my people. It is possible Benezia's partner was embarrassed by their union. She may have been too ashamed to publicly acknowledge me as her offspring.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. But it's all about the mixing up stuff, so it doesn't matter who you mix with. So, you don't know that.
Maybe she wanted to meet you but couldn't. Something could have happened to her. Maybe she passed away.
You might be right. I hope you are. But I have no way to know for sure. Benezia never spoke of her partner. Whatever happened, it caused her too much pain to dwell on it. She raised me by herself, though that is not uncommon. Many Asari raise their children alone, particularly if the father species is short-lived. Often the partner will pass on long before the child reaches maturity.
Wow. Wait a minute, the whole father stuff, how do you deal with that?
You Asari live for 1,000 years. What happens when your partner dies?
Few sapient species live as long as my kind. We have learned to take a philosophical approach to our unions. We do not focus on the inevitable loss of our partners. Instead, we enjoy the time we spend with them. And even after they're gone, a part of them lives on in us. The union is a connection that transcends both time and space.
Interesting. So
You
this
know who
is...
Matriarch Benezia chose as her
She
partner?
rarely spoke of her partner.
Right.
It is possible Benezia's partner was embarrassed. Many Asari raise their
we
children
get
alone,
Benezia,
particularly if the father species is short-lived. Often the partner will pass
This
on
was
long
the other
before the child
one,
reaches
wasn't it?
maturity.
I'd like to know more
We
about
were the
these.
first species.
To get
although
the
we seek to
Citadel,
understand
alright.
I should go.
Goodbye,
Good.
Shepard.
So, and we can read up stuff on the Codex. Let's see. We got council races, the Asari culture. Because of their long lifespan, Asari tend to have a long view, not common in other races. When they encounter a new species or situation, Asari are more comfortable with an extended period of passive observation and study than immediate action. They are unfazed that some of their investments or decisions may not pay off for decades or centuries. Matriarchs can seem to make incomprehensible decisions, but their insight is evident when their carefully laid plans come to fruition. In interstellar relations, this long view manifests in an unspoken policy of centrism. The Asari instinctively seek to maintain stable balances of economy, political, and military power. Traditionally, Asari spread their influence through cultural domination and intellectual superiority. They invite new species of advanced development to join the galactic community, knowing that their ideals and beliefs will inevitably influence the existing culture. Very interesting. And extinct races, that was weird, the beacon. The beacon was a Prothean artifact unearthed on the Alliance colony of Eden Prime. Its resemblance to the Prothean databanks recovered on Mars provoked immediate interest from the Alliance and the Citadel Council. It proved to be a solid-state data storage device, part of a galaxy-spanning comm network, similar to the modern extranet. Intact Prothean paleo technology is rare. The beacon seemed to promise another quantum leap of technology, akin to the discovery of the Mass Effect drive and relays. Unfortunately, the beacon also drew the attention of the rogue Spectre Saren and his synthetic allies, the Geth. A dawn raid by his flagship Sovereign resulted in hundreds of civilian casualties. The beacon was badly damaged. The motives behind the attack are still being investigated. During the recovery operation, the beacon fired a pulse of energy at the executive officer of the Alliance frigate Normandy. Lieutenant Commander Shepard survived and appears to have suffered no ill effects so far. Afterwards, the beacon fell inert. The mechanism appeared to be dead. Alright. That was that. Anything else? Nope. And nothing on the main stuff there. Good. So, now we know more about Liara, at least a little bit. And there's just a few more to talk to. Yeah, there are 2 companions up here on the medium floor. The rest is all the way down here. The Quarian on the other side. That's actually interesting. So let's see. Oh, we got ourselves another mission. Wait. Yeah, look at that. Something squad lockers. What's so special about squad lockers? Liara squad locker. That's not the thing that I'm interested in. There's definitely something here. That's weird. No. 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 Weird. Okay, so for some reason you can interact with that thing, or maybe maybe it's just a point of interest. Whatever.
Shepard.
Yeah. Anything?
So, you'd rather be a merc than help your people?
I'm a fighter. It's what I do.
Aren't you at all worried about what will happen to the Krogan?
What the hell do you want me to do about it, Shepard? I'm tired of sticking my ass on the line and getting nothing for it.
And that is your reason. We are actually very empathetic.
So you decided to go your own way?
I decided killing for credits was better than killing for a lost cause. I'm no hero, Shepard. Bottom line, killing for credits simplifies things.
Is it?
You ever think about helping your people?
I try not to. But there's a lot of Krogan mercs out there. I'm always running into them. Half the time I'm being paid to kill them. But that's just part of the job. You don't get to pick who your enemies are.
Interesting. Wait a minute, did I actually...
How long have you been a merc?
Long enough. I took my first contract right after I left my home system. It's good work if it doesn't kill you.
I get the feeling you enjoy your work.
Sure. You get to see the galaxy on someone else's credits, and most days end with a good fight. I've tried more organized fighting, private armies and such, but it gets too messy. I fight best on my own, or in very small groups. I don't like people relying on me, and I bloody well don't like relying on them.
So long, Wrex.
Shepard.
And a bit more info on Rexy. Let's just check on the codex as well. Non-council races, military doctrine. Traditional Krogan tactics were built on attritional mass unit warfare, meaning you throw as many people onto your target as possible, and at one point one of them still remains, and this is the winner. Anyway, equipped with cheap rugged gear, troop formations were powerful but inflexible. Command and control was very centralized. Soldiers in the field who saw a target contacted their commanders behind the lines to arrange fire support. Since the genophage, the Krogan can no longer afford the casualties of the old horde attacks. The Battlemasters are a match for any 10 soldiers of another species. To a Battlemaster, killing is a science. They focus on developing a clean, brute force economy of motion that exploits their brutal strength to incapacitate enemies with a swift single blow of overwhelming power. This change of focus from mass unit warfare to maximal efficiency has increased employment demand in the fields of security and muscle for hire. Due to the unsavory reputation of the Krogan, most of these jobs are on the far side of the law. Battlemasters are not spit and polish, but they do believe in being well armed and equipped, preferably with a gun for each limb. They are callous and brutal, but methodical and disciplined. They use any means at their disposal to achieve their goals, no matter how reprehensible. Hostage-taking and genocide are acceptable means to ensure a quiet occupation with few Krogan casualties. The Krogan serving with Saren's forces appear to be returning to the old style of mass attritional combat. They also work in close cooperation with supporting Gath units, who fill the roles occupied by combat drones and other armies. Biotics are rare among the Krogans, and those that exist are viewed with suspicion and fear. Krogan see this aura of fear as a useful quality for an officer and often promote them. Combat drones and other high-tech equipment are likewise in short supply. So, Ashley.
Oh, before I go, you said you're serving with Commander Shepard now? We saw him on the news here. He's cute. Later, sis.
Tell me you didn't hear that.
Oh, a relative.
Your sister, I assume?
Until I get home and kill her. That's Sarah, the youngest. Surprised to see you here, sir. Thought you'd be chatting up, what's her name? Tisoni?
Yeah, already was. Yeah, Liara.
Liara? Why would you think that?
Scuttlebutt says you got a bit of a thing for her. I could understand why. The crew's off limits with the regs against fraternization. And at least she looks like a woman.
Well, that's cold. Is that what you think? You're out of line. No, she's not. That's cold. The thing is, that's cold. So,
You think I'm interested in Liara because she's the only one I'm allowed to date?
So you are interested in her?
Wait.
Of course, it could be politics. Alien diplomat's daughter, us under orders to make nice with the bug-eyed monsters. What's up? You didn't come by to eavesdrop on family mail.
Actually, I'm just checking because I want to get the backstory all done. Anyway, tell me about your family. Yeah, I didn't mean to. No, come on. Let's just
Your family
right
seems
into
to be
it.
important to you.
Yeah, we've always been close. Me and my sisters especially. With Dad on duty so much, I had to help Mom raise them.
Interesting. Actually, she might be really good friends with Tisoni. Sounds familiar. You raised your sisters?
After helping raise them, your sisters still talk to you? Amazing.
Things were tense between Sarah and me for a while. Then we bonded.
Oi.
Sounds like a story. Feel like sharing?
Sarah got herself a boyfriend who wanted to go faster than she did, Mike. I didn't think he was a bad kid, just pushy. Lynn would send me these worried vidmails, and I'd tell her to relax.
Yeah, no means no, sure. Something changed. Wait.
Where were you when this was going on?
I was on active duty. Sarah's graduating high school this year. This was only a couple years back. They were on Amaterasu. At the time, I was assigned to Chernobog. Same cluster, but a dozen Hellwire away. Close enough to talk regularly, too far to make it back in an emergency. I couldn't afford a fast packet flight.
Interesting. So, and something changed in the relation?
Sounds like that situation didn't last.
Mike thought they'd go for a romantic walk in the woods, because he figured it was past time they did the deed. She levered Mike face first into a tree and left. Didn't have a scratch on her. Good thing Mom and Dad had us all learn some kind of self-defense. I took emergency leave and walked Sarah to school for a few days.
Interesting. What about the
Why
poopo?
didn't you tell the police?
She said it wouldn't solve the real problem, and she and Mike would both become household names. It was a small colony. I said it was her call to make, that we should let her do it her way. Mom was pretty pissed about that.
You said all of your sisters learned self-defense?
Lynn did pistol practice, but didn't like it. She's kind of nervous. Sarah took Aikido. Abby decided to learn the sword. She always was a little weird. Likes big skirts and tops you have to tie her into. They do great things to her figure, though.
Interesting. This is actually, yeah, actually you could, if you make another Mass Effect game, you could make it about the backstories of some of those companions, at least. So, anyway, or you could just come up with something new completely, whatever. And what about you?
So, what did you learn?
One of Dad's friends taught me Marine hand to hand.
Interesting. Dedicated of you. And what happened with Mike?
Did anything happen while you were home?
My last day out, Mike was waiting for us. Sarah had told her friends, so everyone at school knew what he did. He wasn't happy. I wanted to snap him in half, but Sarah gave me this look, this let me handle it, I need to do this alone look. She kept her cool, God bless her, as he screamed in her face. She just let him vent. Then he tried to punch her. I swear, she just flowed around him. Next thing I knew, he's face down on the sidewalk, and there's blood everywhere.
Wow.
That's unbelievable. Sarah must be as good as you.
Better. I'm more or less a straight-up puncher. When he swung, she wasn't there anymore, and he fell. She helped him stop the bleeding and had me call an ambulance. She told the paramedics he fell. Before they took him to the hospital, Mike touched Sarah's arm. I thought he was gonna end up on the ground again. But he hung his head, whispered, "I'm sorry," and started crying. And she hugged him. The Williams women are a decisive bunch, Commander. We do things when we're ready. Not before, not after.
Interesting. Where's your father the whole time?
Where was your father during this? Wasn't your family stationed near him?
Dad always wanted to serve in space, but he wanted us to have real ground under our feet. He'd say, space is beautiful, but you can't raise a family there. I cannot rest from travel. I will drink life to the lees. All times I've enjoyed greatly, have suffered greatly, both with those that loved me and alone. For always roaming with a hungry heart, much have I seen and known, cities of men and manners, climates, councils, governments.
You read poetry?
I never thought I'd hear you reciting poetry.
Just because I can drill you between the eyes at 100 meters doesn't mean I can't like sensitive stuff. Just don't spread your lamp. Ulysses was my dad's favorite poem. Every time he shipped out, he recorded me reading it. He had a dozen versions when he retired.
Well, it's a good piece,
Does he still like it?
I sure hope so. I read it to his grave every time I go home.
Oh.
Dad passed on a few years back. He's probably still watching, though. So behave.
Creepy. Yeah, sure. The big guy. From the afterlife. What?
You mean from wherever we go after death?
Dead on, Skipper. He's with God now. That's not a problem with you, is it? That I believe in God?
Oh, no. Everybody has their ways. What do we have here? Of course not. My place to judge. Are you a fanatic? Whoa. It goes from, oh no, everything's okay, to, oh boy, time for a crusade. Keep it to yourself. Well, I do. I do too. Okay. Do we? Man, not in this kind of God. Of course not. Not my place to judge. Yeah. Of course not. Of course not is like, nah, it's definitely not our place to judge that.
Your beliefs are your business. I'm your commanding officer, not your moral compass.
Just my commanding officer, huh? We'll have to see about that.
Yeah, we will. Oh.
What are you saying, Williams?
Me? I'm not saying anything, Skipper. I should get back to my duties. Didn't mean to take up so much of your time.
Alright.
What's your opinion on the last mission?
Not sure I buy Dr. Tassoni's story about her and her mom not talking. They're family, right?
Yeah, but they are Asari family.
Not everyone's as close to their family as you are.
Yeah, that's true. It's funny, I never really thought about that before. Too bad those ruins got destroyed. I mean, they lasted thousands of years. That's impressive.
We'll talk later, Williams.
Looking forward to it, Skipper.
Yeah, I'm not their moral compass. Actually, morals have nothing to do with beliefs in God. Right? That is actually like, Why would you connect moral beliefs and a belief in a God? These are actually two different things that you can connect, yes, if you take some rules from a god and follow them, right? Then they become your moral compass, or they change your moral compass, and then you adhere to whatever higher goal this is. But morals are morals and gods are gods. That's two different things. A god should not care what your moral belief system is. That's what makes gods powerful. They don't care. So, let's see. Codex. Humanity and Systems Alliance. Do we have any more personal stuff? No. And in here we got the military doctrine. The Alliance military is of great concern to the galaxy. At first contact with the Turians, they were completely inexperienced. Turian disdain changed to respect after the relief of Shang-Chi, where a human surprised them with novel technologies and tactics. The human devotion to understanding and adapting to modern space warfare stunned the State Council races. For hundreds of years, they had lived behind secure walls of long-proven technologies and tactics. The Council regards the Alliance as a sleeping giant. Less than 3% of humans volunteer to serve in their military, a lower proportion than any other species. While competent, Alliance soldiers are neither as professional as the Turians, nor as skilled as the Asari. Their strength lie in fire support, flexibility and speed. They make up for lack of numbers with sophisticated technical support, VIs, drones, artillery, electronic warfare, and emphasis on mobility and individual initiative. Their doctrine is not based on absorbing and dishing out heavy shocks like the Turians or Krogans. Rather, they bypass enemy strong points and launch deep into their rear, cutting supply lines and destroying headquarters and support units, leaving enemies to wither on the vine. On defense, the human military is a rapid reaction force that lives by Sun Tzu's maxim: he who tries to defend everything defends nothing. And garrison are intended for scouting rather than combat, avoiding engagement to observe and report on invaders using drones. The token garrisons of human colonies make it easy for alien powers to secure them, for which the Alliance media criticizes the military. However, the powerful fleets stationed at phase gate nexuses such as Arcturus are just a few hours or days from any colony within their sphere of responsibility. In the event of an attack, they respond with overwhelming force. So now it's overwhelming force again. Interesting. And Garrus, the one in the garrison.
Commander, what can I do for you?
Oh, what's the matter?
Something bothering you?
It's Saren. I'm starting to wonder whether we'll ever find him. He's always one step ahead of us, and he's got those damn Geth.
Well, not really that much of a problem. If you don't fight against this big spider thingy, mantis, whatever, the thing that shoots this lightning bolts at you. They are very annoying. You think you got away?
We're getting close, Garrus. We'll find him.
I wish I had your confidence. I just can't stand the thought of him getting away with everything he's done. I know you're doing everything you can, and if anyone can catch him, it's you, but if there's anything else I can do to help, anything, just tell me what you want me to do, and I'll do it.
Yeah, alright. Are you worried? Wait a minute.
I understand your concern, but we'll find him. Just make sure you're ready to go when we do.
Yes, sir. I'll be ready. Can I ask you something, Commander?
Of course.
What is it?
Are you worried that the Council might be protecting Saren? I mean, they were really dragging their heels before. What if we find him, bring him back to the Citadel, and they refuse to act?
Ah, well, it is possible.
You seem to have some thoughts on this. Speak your mind, Garrus.
Well, maybe we shouldn't give them the chance, Commander. In my opinion, Saren's too dangerous to be kept alive. Too much could happen. He could escape, or the Council might let him go. If we find him, when we find him, I say we make sure we stop him permanently.
Well, only as a last resort.
If Saren won't listen to reason, if he forces my hand, I'll kill him in a heartbeat. But only if it's absolutely necessary.
But what's the point in keeping him alive? It just gives him an opportunity to escape or convince the Council to listen to him. And what about the Geth? They might try to free him.
Think about it. Use your head. Enough. Like, what? Isn't use your head? Think about it.
We know more about Saren's plans than anyone. But what do we really know? If we just kill him, we lose the chance to find out.
Yeah, I see your point. Do you really think there's more to know, other than the fact that he's a raving lunatic?
Maybe, maybe not. But it's not a chance I'm willing to take.
Yes, sir.
And Council raises the Turian government. The Turian government is a hierarchical meritocracy. While it has great potential for misuse, this is tempered by the civic duty and personal responsibility Turians learn in childhood. Turians have 27 citizenship tiers, beginning with civilians, client races, and children. The initial period of military service is the second tier. Formal citizenship is conferred at the third tier. After boot camp, for client races, citizenship is granted after the individual musters out. Higher-ranked citizens are expected to lead and protect subordinates. Lower-ranked citizens are expected to obey and support superiors. Promotion to another tier of citizenship is based on the personal assessments of one's superiors and co-rankers. Throughout their lives, Turians ascend to higher tiers and are occasionally demoted to lower ones. The stigma associated with demotion lies not on the individual, but on those who promoted him when he wasn't ready for additional responsibility. This curbs the tendency to promote individuals into positions beyond their capabilities. Settling into a role and rank is not considered stagnation. Turians value knowing one's own limitations more than being ambitious. At the top are the Primarchs, who each rule a colonization cluster. The Primarchs vote on matters of national import. They otherwise maintain a hands-off policy, trusting the citizens on each level below them to do their jobs competently. Turians enjoy broad freedoms, so long as one completes his duties and does not prevent others from completing theirs. Nothing is forbidden. For example, there are no laws against recreational drug use, but if someone is unable to complete his duties due to drug use, his superiors step in. Judicial proceedings are interventions. Peers express their concern and try to convince the offender to change. If rehabilitation fails, Turians have no qualms about sentencing dangerous individuals to life at hard labor for the state. Interesting. Actually, really cool that there are, one could almost say, very extreme forms of different kind of governments in here. Like extreme in a way that there are like certain stats just maxed out. And in this case, it's more like a military controlled thing. Like everything has its castes almost. You can like move between castes in order to find your own, right? Like everybody's kind of put into different places, and then they just find their place in that caste system, and then they act just accordingly. And then you have like a bit of a chaotic mess stuff with humans, and then you have an even more chaotic mess stuff with Krogans, pretty much. It's like on a actually it's more like on a spectrum. Let's say it's not maxed out stats, but anyway, an awful lot of maxed out stats on Krogan. Very individual thing even. Then you have like your Asari, which is basically Turians, but not as hands-on almost. They're more diplomatic and long-thinking. Then of course you have your Quarians, who are, well, they are, what are they? They have more of a unified view of their species, which is interesting. Yeah, that's actually very interesting. So, let's see.
Looking for supplies?
Of course. Maybe he has something interesting.
Let's see what you've got.
You bet.
And then we can talk with... There's nothing. I could actually buy some of this stuff. Han Kedar. Any good? It's a heavy armor. Do we have any heavy armor human? Heavy armor human. I need a light armor human. Like this one. There's no light armor human that's good. Whatever. What else? Striker. Maybe this one. Doesn't seem that much better, to be honest. Alright. Time to move on. And talk with our scientist of...
Something I can do for you, Commander.
Not yet.
Carry on, Adam.
Aye, aye, Commander.
Wait. There's a core charge status. That's interesting. Something else to read. Oh yeah. Let's see what we got. Ships and vehicles. The drive charge. As positive or negative electric current is passed through an FTL drive core, it requires a static electrical charge. Drives can be operated an average of 50 hours before they reach charge saturation. This change is proportional to the magnitude of mass reduction. A heavier or faster ship reaches saturation more quickly. Well, it just depends on how big your drive is and how much it can suck up. But anyway, if the charge is allowed to build, the core will discharge into the hull of a ship. All ungrounded crew members are fried to a crisp. All electronic systems are burned out, and metal bulkheads may be melted and fused together. The safest way to discharge a core is to land on a planet and establish a connection to the ground, like a lightning rod. Larger vessels like dreadnoughts cannot land and must discharge into a planetary magnetic field. The ship passes the charge from the drive core to the exterior armored hull, then dives into the magnetic field. As the hull discharges, sheets of lightning jump away into the field, creating beautiful auroral displays on the planet. The ship must retract its sensors and weapons while dumping charge to prevent damages, leaving it blind and helpless. Discharging at a moon with a weak magnetic field can take days. Discharging into the powerful field of a gas giant may require less than an hour. Deep space facilities such as the Citadel often have special discharge facilities for visiting ships. Or they have this strange cloud that they kind of build some kind of trash disposal thingamajig, and that is also a way to get rid of this FTL stuff. But anyway, usually charge is a surface phenomenon, right? Meaning it only appears or happens on the surface of an object and not on the inside of an object. So that means anything inside an object is basically safe from any current. Let's say you have like a charge or like you charge up a bucket, right? You can touch the inside of the bucket, which is safe, but when you touch the handle of the bucket, which is the outside, you get zapped. That's just it. Anyway, tally, or maybe if the charge is so good, extremely great, the outside becomes the inside and vice versa, and then that could also be a thing. But anyway, let's talk with Tali.
Shepard, I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, glad you're feeling better. Better? Was she ever well, a little bit of homesick.
Good to see you smiling again, so to speak.
I'm sleeping much better now. I guess I'm getting used to how quiet your ship is. But I don't want this to get in the way of our mission, Shepard. First, we stop Saren. Then I'll worry about my own problems.
Right. Quarry Seth. There's a thing new here.
I should go.
See you later. Hey, Shepard. You need.
I should go.
See you later.
Right. Da da dee da da do 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 do. Up the elevator, there we go. Bam. Bam 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 bam. What does this actually mean? TAMXW 800 XJT. See this all over the place. Is this some kind of other name for the Normandy? Could be. Oh, this is. I thought it was a name, like not SR1. These double equal signs here. Alright. Oh, wait, there's still Joker.
Yes, Commander?
Carry on, President.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Wait, which direction am I going? Right. Huh. There's a heat load monitor. Very interesting. Interesting. We got additional codex entries. Just this was not here before, wasn't it? Every now and then you can get additional codex entries. Ah, see? From your environment. This was a free entry so far. Let's see what we got. The ships and vehicles, the combat endurance. Heat limits the length and intensity of ship-to-ship combat. Starships generate enormous heat when they fire high-energy weapons, perform maneuvers, burns, and run on board combat electronics. In combat, warships produce heat more quickly than they can disperse it. As heat builds up within a vessel, the crewed spaces become increasingly uncomfortable. Before the heat reaches lethal levels, a ship must win or retreat by entering FTL. After an FTL run, the ship halts, shuts down non-essential systems, and activates the heat radiation gear. Combat endurance varies by ship design and by the battle's location. Battles in the deep cold of interstellar space can go on for some time. Engagements closer to a star are brief, since habitable worlds are usually close to a star. Battles over them are frantic. And the heat management on Starship. Dispersal of heat generated by onboard systems is a critical issue for a ship. If it cannot deal with heat, the crew may be cooked within the hull. Radiation is the only way to shed heat in a vacuum. Civilian vessels utilize large, fragile radiator panels that are impossible to armor. Warships use diffuse radiator arrays, DRAs, ceramic strips along the exterior of the armored hull. These make the ship appear striped to thermographic sensors. Since the arrangement of the strips depend on the internal configuration of the ship, the patterns for each vessel are unique and striking. In older ships, the DRA strips could become red or white hot, dubbing tiger strips or war paint by humans. The glowing DRA had a psychological impact on pirates and irregular forces. Strip radiators are not as efficient as panels, but if damaged by enemy fire, the ship only loses a small portion of its total radiation capacity. In most cases, a vessel's DI alone allows it to cruise with no difficulties. Operation deep within a solar system can cause problems. A ship engaged in combat can produce titanic amounts of heat from maneuvering burns and weapons fire. When fighting in a high heat environment, warships employ high-efficient droplet heat sinks. In a droplet system, tanks of liquid sodium or lithium absorb heat within the ship. The liquid is vented from spray nozzles near the bow as a thin sheet of millions of micrometer scale droplets. The droplets are caught at the stern and recycled into the system. A droplet system can sink 10 to 100 times as much heat as DRA strips. Droplet sheets resemble a surface of ship's wake through the water. The wake peels out in sharp turns, spreading a fan of droplets as the ship changes vectors and leaves the coolant behind. And we got a Guardian. The ship's general area defense integration anti-spacecraft network, short Guardian, consists of anti-missile and anti-fighter laser turrets on the exterior hull. Because these are under computer control, the gunnery control officer needs to do little beyond turn the system on and designate targets as hostile. Since lasers move at light speed, they cannot be dodged by anything moving at non-relativistic speeds. Unless the beam is aimed poorly, it will always hit its target. In the early stages of a battle, the Guardian fires 100% accurate. It is not 100% lethal, but it doesn't have to be. Damaged fighters must break off for repairs. Lasers are limited by diffraction. The beams spread out, decreasing the energy density, watts per m squared. The weapon can place on a target. Any high-powered laser is a short-range weapon. Guardian networks have another limitation: heat. Weapons-grade lasers require cool down time, during which heat is transferred to sinks or radiators. As lasers fire, heat builds up within them and reducing damage and range and accuracy. Why accuracy? I mean, damage, yes, because you can't use it for long enough. Range only has something like basically goes infinite. You just have to point it with some interesting lensing, but anyway. Fighters attack in swarms. The first few will be hit by Guardian, but as battle continues, the effects of laser overheat allow the attackers to press ever closer to the ship. Constant use will burn out the laser. Guardian lasers typically operate in infrared frequencies. Shorter frequencies would offer superior stopping power and range, but degradation of focal arrays and mirrors would make them expensive to maintain, and most prefer mechanical reliability over bleeding edge performance where lives are concerned. Solarians, however, use near ultraviolet frequency lasers with 6 times the range, believing that having additional time to shoot down incoming missile is more important. Lasers are not blocked by the kinetic barriers of capital ships. However, the range of lasers limits their use to rare knife fights. Ship-to-ship combat. Okay. Short frequencies with infrared, yada yada yada. There we go. Focal arrays and mirrors would make them expensive to maintain. Okay, yeah, so they don't use normal lenses, they use mechanical reliability. I mean, it's kind of inferred that they use magnetic lensing in here. Shorter frequencies would offer superior stopping power and range, but no. Huh. Interesting. So they do use lenses. But now I also know why the accuracy goes down in a laser if they heat up, because you cannot, like, if they use magnetic lensing, then you need to put energy into the magnetic lens in order for this to work. And if it heats up, it can't be operated that well anymore, and therefore the accuracy goes down. That might be a thing. Interesting. So, Joker. Oh, look at this. A gunnery system. Something else to read. After Joker, of course.
I prefer gold to silver, you know, for my medal. I figured you'd recommend me for one since I pulled your boots out of the fire.
You sure you won the medal?
If we present you with a medal, you'll end up sitting on stage listening to politicians make speeches for a couple of hours. Fun.
That's a good point. They'd probably make me shave, too. I spent the last 7 weeks working on this baby. No medal's worth that. So, Commander, why don't you tell me why you're really here?
Right. Didn't I get the whole personal history, ship status report? This is when I talk. Anything?
How'd you end up joining the Alliance?
Look, if you're looking for an inspirational tale of the crypt, my mother was a civilian. Spend all that time.
Why does everyone call you Joker?
There you go.
It's a lot shorter than saying Alliance Flight Lieutenant Jeff Moreau.
And we got
Plus, I love to make little children laugh.
Right.
Look, I didn't pick the name. One of the instructors in flight school used to bug me about never smiling.
I have to go.
Alright, so we basically got all of his dialogue already somewhere in the previous episode. And yeah, then there's another codex entry that I got. Ships and vehicles.
Faster than light drive, ship mobility dominates space combat. The primary objective is to align the mass accelerator along the bow with the opposing vessel's broadside. Battles typically play out as artillery duels, fought at ranges measured in thousands of kilometers, though assaults through defended mass relays often occur at knife fight ranges, as close as a few dozen kilometers. Most ship-to-ship engagements are skirmishes between patrol vessels of cruiser weight and below, with dreadnoughts and carriers only deployed in full-scale fleet actions. Battles in open space are short and often inconclusive, as the weaker opponent typically disengages. Once a ship enters FTL flight, the combat is effectively over. There are no sensors capable of tracking them, or weapons capable of damaging them. The only way to guarantee an enemy will stand and fight is to attack a location they have a vested interest in, such as a settled world or a strategically important mass relay.
The more you know. Alright, we may also get some communication shenanigans once I activate the galaxy map, so let's just do that. Alright. Nothing on the room. Wait a minute. Yeah, we scanned those things. Like, can't they just stay discovered? That would be nice. Yeah, the other one is also discovered, wasn't it? Yeah. Alright. So I got those two. I explored Athens and Knossos, and the next one will be Macedon and Sparta. But yeah, we are gonna do those in the next episode. Until then, like and subscribe, of course, and ta-ta!